What if one generation quietly learned something most people still haven't? Not success, not independence, but something colder. How to function without expecting anything to hold. That generation is Generation X. Born between 1965 and 1980, they're often ignored in cultural conversations. Too young to be old school, too old to be digital native, so they disappear from attention, but not from impact. Here's the uncomfortable question. What happens to a child who grows up repeatedly experiencing one pattern? Adults are not reliably present. Many Gen X kids came home to empty houses, not as tragedy, but as routine. No supervision, no constant guidance, no feedback loop. Just decisions and consequences. And here's the psychological twist most people miss. That doesn't just create independence, it creates self-surveillance. A mind that learns, if I don't manage myself, no one will. Now add something else. The world around them kept breaking promises. Job security collapsed. Divorces rose. Institutions that looked stable weren't. So a second belief forms quietly. Don't trust systems to stay consistent. This combination creates a very specific cognitive style, not optimism, not pessimism, but prepared uncertainty. They don't assume things will fail. They assume they can fail. That difference changes everything. It changes how they speak. Less emotional disclosure, more irony, more distance. Not because they don't feel deeply, but because emotional exposure used to be expensive. And here's where it gets interesting for you watching this. Gen X is one of the first generations to live through a full identity shift, from privacy being default, to privacy becoming optional, to privacy becoming dangerous. So when younger generations share everything, Gen X doesn't feel confusion, they feel exposure risk. Two completely different psychological operating systems. In work, this becomes another pattern. They don't chase authority, they test it. Not out of rebellion, but out of memory. Because they learned something early don't always mean competence, and this produces a quiet advantage. In crisis, they stabilize. While others escalate emotionally, they default to execution. Not because they're stronger, but because uncertainty is their baseline. But there's a cost nobody talks about. When self-reliance becomes identity, asking for help starts to feel like system failure, even when support exists. So Gen X becomes something paradoxical. Highly capable, but rarely dependent, present, but not performative, connected, but not exposed. And maybe that's why they're overlooked, because attention goes to the loudest adaptation, not the most durable one. The real question isn't who is Gen X, it's this. What kind of adult does a world create when reliability is never guaranteed?